Hey everybody, this is Real Deep Stuff. Kristi Buttles here, your host, and I am on location. I can't believe it, but I'm in Spain, and I'm in Spain with my awesome sister-in-law, Michelle. Hey, Michelle.
Hola.
Hola, very good. Buenos dias.
No hablo español.
Pico español. So we are doing this crazy thing, walking the Camino. We're so excited. We started, how long ago? We started talking about it like a year ago.
It was like last summer we started.
Yeah. So, and we'll just fast forward. Right now we're sitting outside you'll hear birds and cars and trees blowing in the wind, and want to make it feel like you're here with us. So I guess we'll get started by introducing my wonderful sister-in-law, Michelle. So where are you from?
Texas. Dallas, Texas. So, yes.
And so we know each other because of our husbands are brothers. And I know Bruce and I just did our 4-part anniversary series, and 33 years this year. And so how long have y'all been married?
Well, do you want Bart to answer that or me?
Funny you should ask that question. Recently we were in Venice, Florida together, and he was put on the spot by our fisherman asking how long y'all had been married. And do you remember what he said?
He could not exactly remember. He knew it was 20-something, but he was thinking closer to 25. And actually this year it will be 30.
Oh, he's still in the doghouse over this. And another guy, I remember, came walking up, and he thought that the fisherman had caught some big deal fish because we were all like laughing and loud.
Yes.
And he came up and he's like, "What's going on?"
Oh, yes. And he gave him a hard time. Like, dude.
I said, well, this guy here can't remember how long he's been married, and it's going to be 30 years. And the guy was like, yeah, that's bad, dude. So Bart is still trying to defend himself, but he can't. Not on this one. No.
Too many witnesses.
Too many witnesses. I love it. So we have been through a lot with our family, and we like good stuff, and we've traveled a lot together already. You guys go in the RV with us all over the place.
This is the first time solo for us. This is the two of us.
I know we miss our fellas, but this is fun.
It is.
This is so fun. So so we started talking about hold on. I was just about to say that. So you and I were talking on the phone one day, and we were just talking like bucket lists and things like that. And I said, I've always wanted to do the Camino. And I said, ever since I saw the movie The Way many years ago, and just it never left me. I just really wanted to do that. And Bruce and I talked about doing it together. Of course, he would love to do it, but that thing called work. And, he works remote, I work remote, but my job is highly more flexible than his. And we just weren't sure, because we heard that people walk the Camino for months. And so we just weren't sure, how long he could be gone. So he just was like, I'm not going to be able to go. And I remember talking to you one day, like, I'm so sad, he said he'd have to wait till retirement, and, that's fine, and then you were just like, I'll go. I was like, do you know what you're saying? What was your first thought when I said that?
I'm always up to go. The word go, I love it. And I didn't really know much about it when you brought it up. I don't think I had seen the movie, but apparently this is a bucket list for Bart, too. That
He's made that abundantly clear many times in our planning.
Yes. We're doing the legwork, and then, so that they can come next time and be prepared.
Yeah, so we've been saying we're like the recon team.
Yes.
To go try it out, and then bring everybody next year. And whoever can go, at least our guys, but hopefully some of our kids. That would be really fun. Yeah. So we started talking, and then more seriously talking, and then maybe started looking online at things, and one thing leads to another. Next thing you know, we're talking dates, and it becomes more real.
6 months later, making plane reservations.
Mm-hmm. I remember that day we were a 3-way call, because you're in Texas and I'm in North Carolina, and then I don't know where the dude from American was, but I remember thinking, this is real. Mm-hmm. And we did it.
We did it.
Booked our flight, so then we had to figure out how are we going to walk it. Are we backpacking? How long do we really want to be gone? How many miles a day? There's a lot of decisions made. And some, when you see people walking the Camino, everyone's just like slowly sauntering along. But there is a boatload of decisions leading up to that point.
Yes.
Yeah. So want to share about like why we chose what we did as far as the length of time and stuff?
Well, Kristi might be a little more adventurous than me. I wasn't up for staying in I'm open to hostels, but I'm not open to sharing bunk beds.
And communal showers.
No, wasn't kind of up for that. So we found several different companies where they will book your flights or not flights, but hotels, and they transfer your luggage. So
that was the first decision, was hotel or albergue, which is hostel. We've stayed in hostels before, but not many, but the ones we did were in Europe were just a really good experience. But you never know what you're going to get where you go. And we started reading online, like people saying out of 10 albergues, only 3 had bed bugs. And I was like, okay, you just lost me right there. No. And then I heard, yeah, fleas can be a thing. And I'm like, double no. Mm-mm. And we're not saying they're all bad. We're not. I'm sure that is the exception. But we don't want to chance it.
And especially, even here, like last night, you heard someone snoring through the walls.
Yes.
Imagine if you were staying all in the same room, bunk beds close together.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The one word snore is my red line. Like, knowing you have to walk a lot, I can't lose my night of sleep.
And you were nervous after the first night with me.
I wasn't going to say it. But since you opened the door, the first night so let's see. You flew from Dallas to Charlotte, and then we flew to Munich.
Yes.
And we had a wonderful 4-hour layover in a small airport, which we got to know very well, and it was great. Everybody was super nice, and food was good. And then we flew from Munich to Madrid, and then from Madrid to Santiago, and so that was 4 cities in one flight span. Hi. Which was
hola.
Hola.
Totally in the sun.
Yes. Have a good night. Buenas noches. So we are live on the road right now, and that's pretty cool. I love that. Everyone is so friendly. So we had a very long travel experience, which gave me a surprise, which leads to what you were just saying. Once we got to Madrid, we had another 4-hour layover, and that airport was pretty cool.
Yes.
It had a lot.
It went by super fast.
It did.
We weren't circling the same people.
No. We were walking to get our steps in, knowing we were going to be sitting for a long time on flights. And in Munich, a lot of people are just, sitting and waiting. And so we had to walk by them. And I think at first they looked curious, and then they just looked annoyed because we're dragging our luggage with us. So I feel like, we covered hostel or albergue versus hotel. So then we booked through one of the travel agencies that will arrange basically your entire itinerary, which is wonderful. And they do luggage transfer. So here's the big topic.
Yes.
Is it cheating?
In my mind, no. There's no way I could fit everything that I need. I can barely fit it. I think fitting it in carry-on is a huge accomplishment.
I'm so proud of you.
My family doubted me.
I never doubted you, but it was a challenge for both of us in different ways. And so if we back up, we decided to do carry-on, not check-in.
Right.
Yeah, because we wanted everything, small and tight. But
someone had to do check-in.
Right out the gate. First flight, they pull me over. And they're like, you're going to need to check that carry-on. I'm like, what? And I really tried to talk my way out of it, but they had already printed the luggage tag. I was like, this is a lost conversation. So I thought, fine, whatever. And so I just thought, I texted Bruce and I said, oh boy, they took my luggage, one of them, and I hope it makes it there. And he responds, he goes, oh dear. He says, well, at least there's no connections. And I was like, there's 2 connections and 3 more planes.
And that was the point of doing the carry-on.
Yes. And so I really tried not to. So travel tip for everybody, including myself, preaching to the choir here, is I remember we sat down on the plane. You had moved your seat to, hopefully, we were bookending aisle seats, hoping the 2 would be empty in between us, and then they got filled up. So that's fine. So you sat down, and then I came in. I was later because they were making me do the luggage thing. And you looked at me, you're like, are you okay? And at the time, I was sort of okay. I was really just like, wow, that wasn't supposed to happen. But I had just told you on the ride to the airport, I packed lots of flexibility. Because we've internationally traveled, both of us have. And it's not going to go according to plan A, you know that. But I mean, like, right out, didn't get on the first plane without the first giant, detour of like, oh.
But I've told you a few tricks now to help.
Yes, you're sneaky. Want to share them?
Well, you just put your luggage on the other side of the person scanning your boarding pass, and you take a jacket and you cover it.
So smart. And do it quickly.
Yes.
And here I was, my luggage was in front of me, uncovered, and I had my jacket stuffed in the backpack, which made it bigger. I did 10 points of wrong. Yeah, so I will take lessons from you for sure. So you asked me if I'm okay, and I just looked at you and like,
Yeah, that didn't sound good.
No. And I sat down because, I just didn't want to start the trip out with half my stuff. And you and I worked so hard to bring a little bit. Really, we had a backpack and a carry-on luggage for 20 days. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's all in. That's everything. So it just really threw me. I'm a planner, and it really threw me. And I was just like, not expecting that. I just wanted to have all my stuff with me at all points. And I sat down, and I was a little undone about that. And really, because she was saying the point was that she didn't think my backpack would fit under the seat.
And it did.
And it did. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, it could have been with me, because she's like, if I let you have 2 bulging things, I'll have to let everybody. And it was an oversold flight. Like, there was 30-something people on standby. So I get it. She was just doing her job. But I was telling her, I'm like, I will get that backpack under the seat. I promise. And she's like, no. So, you just got to be polite and go with the flow, follow the rules. So I did. And so anyway, I'm sitting there in the airplane seat, and I'm thinking, well, we have like an 8-hour and 40-minute flight. So I can either worry about it the entire time, or I can just give it to God and let it go. And I thought, I can't control what's happening, but I can control my response to it. And why let it rob me of the next almost 9 hours of peace when there's nothing I can do about it? So I just leaned into it, and I was like, oh dear God, please.
And it all worked out.
It did.
We might have checked a few times the air tag.
A few hundred. Where's it now? And then I remember when we got on the last flight to Santiago, it looked like it was left behind. It was like 738 miles back, and I'm like, no. But your point was, you're like, well, it needs to, someone with an iPhone needs to walk by it. And I was like, oh, that's right. So, but you had a real fun flight, the Santiago flight. That was fun.
Yeah, from Madrid, yes, to Santiago, yes. Some guy, didn't start off so well. First, I get up politely so he can take the seat next to me.
You are one of the most polite people I've ever known in my life. So,
well, thank you.
At all times, yes.
And then I barely stepped on his toe, and he goes, oh, you broke my toe.
And he's like 6'5", 275 pounds.
Oh, yeah, at
big
least.
Guy.
Yes.
And you're this petite thing.
Not that petite, but
you cannot damage his foot.
It's not like I had heels on.
No.
And then, so I guess for payback, the whole time, and I think if you're in the middle seat, you get both armrests. So I was
agree.
fine with him doing that.
Yes.
Had no issue.
Yes.
But his elbow was in my space, and he was leaning all in my space practically the whole flight.
And he just gave you the side eye the whole time. Because I kept looking over worried about you. Because I knew that y'all hadn't gotten off on the right foot. No pun intended. I mean, you were getting up to let him in. It was a total accident. And you hardly, I saw it. And he was like, ow! Ooh, you broke my toe! And I was like, oh no. We don't want to be the next viral airplane video.
Nope.
And he just did kind of like take more and more, space up on your side to where you were like leaning over the armrest into the aisle. And I mentioned one time, I thought I was talking in code enough that only you would understand. And I was mentioning that. And he looked at me with a side eye. And I'm like, oh, I'm not saying anything else. That's no, So that was a short, long flight for you.
I am thankful it was only like an hour flight. So, yes.
For sure. Yep. And so we traveled overnight. The one to Munich was like we left the States at 4 in the afternoon, and then it was 7 a.m. in Germany. So our time is all messed up. And I talked before, I think it was the episode previous to this one about, the mental health of blood sugar, how my blood sugar responds with stress response and does these weird things, which is why I have this Freestyle Libre sensor on. And so we finally get to the end of the road and we get the luggage. It's like, okay, is my bag there? Sorry.
Oh, my
stepped
toe.
on your toe. Oh no, your toe. I broke your toe. I really think that was a him issue myself, and you handled it gracefully for sure. So we see that beautiful piece of luggage come off on the belt, and I'm like, hallelujah. And I'm starting to look at life a little differently, where things, when they're thrown at us or just the unexpected happens, instead of kind of bracing, in my mind, I go to worst case scenario all the time. I don't know. It's just, coping skill, I guess. But I'm starting to change that, and I'm starting to say, you know what? This is going to be a glory story. This is going to be where God gets to show up and show off and shine.
And he did.
And he did, because that piece of luggage had many opportunities to go lots of places. And it wound up in the right spot. So happy. So then we called for the travel service to come get us.
Yeah.
And little language barrier about where to meet, but we figured that out.
Miguel
was wonderfully nice, wonderful man. But, I'm not a very trusting person, so I'm taking pictures of the car and the license plate. Ladies, it's very important you do this. I always take a picture of the license plate and the car, and I make the driver say our name first, and then I've already asked what the driver's name will be, and we're going to get all that cleared up before we get in a car. I had nightmares about this over the past year of planning this. And then we get something goes sideways with that, with any point of driving in cars with other people. So that worked out really well. We stayed at a really nice hotel. But, it's funny, when my family did a mission trip in Ecuador, fell in love with that country and the people, and I had no idea. I'd never been to that type of elevation. It was 14,000 feet. At one point, 13,000 feet was an average, and I had zero idea that I would have altitude sickness, but I felt like I was having a heart attack the entire time. It was brutal. It was brutal. I just literally, the pain in my chest. It's not even that you couldn't catch your breath. It was like literally like a gorilla just squeezing your heart in its hand. And I just had never had altitude sickness before. So I haven't had this glucose sensor on with this type of disruption to daily life, this long travels, like 2 days of travel. And so you are so comfy in your bed. You got your eye mask and your earplugs, and you're like out. You're down for the count.
Well, I didn't sleep on the plane, except maybe very short.
Yeah, yes. I don't think anybody gets a lot of good sleep on the plane. I tried, but you get the people that are talking, or in my case, 2 seats over, a girl, I felt so bad for her. She was sick, just coughed and sneezed the whole time. So I wound up putting a mask on because I thought, I can't. We're just at the start of this thing. I can't catch anything. So anyway, yeah, that night was rough because we're all out of whack with our sleep. And so my glucose sensor starts going off like every 20 minutes that I'm hitting lows, new lows. I mean, like 54, 53, and then it started at 3 a.m. and went all the way to like 8 a.m. And at one point, and I got up, and I hate eating middle of the night. I talked about that on the other episode. And I'm drinking my protein shake, and I'm eating peanuts, and the peanuts are falling in the floor in the dark, and then I'm imagining big Spanish bugs coming to get the peanuts, and then we had the window open, but I closed it because we were on the second floor. I didn't know if a bat would come in because there are no screens on the windows, and like bats, you don't feel it when they bite. I just didn't want to, so I closed the window. And so all this is happening, and I'm turning on lights. Hola. And I'm turning on lights, and I can't figure out the switches because, like, you went to bed, but, like, we had to have our phones charging and stuff. So when I hit the light switch, all the power went off, like outlets and everything. So then I'm groping in the dark to find my way back to it was a comedy of errors.
I was clueless to it all.
You just were, like, dead on the bed. And I'm like, where's the power? And then every time that sensor went off, I was just like, no. And then the last one, and so I started kind of ignoring them. Like, even if it was below 55, I just was so tired, upside down, that, well, I'm glad you slept. You slept great because it was audibly evident you were sleeping well.
Yeah, but you just said that it was very short.
It was very short that you were, what?
I don't know if it was quite snoring, but it could have just been a soft sigh.
Oh, it was not a sigh. A loud purr, maybe, leaning towards snoring. And after being up constantly with this monitor, and then the thing about the window with the bat, and then the power, and then the snoring, I just went, okay, we're just going to call this night a transition night. There will be no rest had tonight. But then you were completely silent the rest of the night. And so all that worked out. But I was pretty upside down. So the last glucose alarm that went off, it actually said, it didn't even give me a number. It said out of range. It said LO, low, in all caps, out of range. I'm like, well, shoot. What is that? And on the graph, I mean, it was like down to like 40 something. And I was like, oh no. So I'd been up eating in the bathroom and everything, and it was scary. I was like, what is happening to me? I don't know what's happening in my body. You kept saying it might be the time change, like your body's like off, like we didn't eat dinner at the right time and all that stuff. So yeah, so when you awoke, Sleeping Beauty, I looked like the monster under the bed, sitting on the side with my head in my hands, like, oh, it's gonna be a day. But we went downstairs to a big surprise.
Wonderful breakfast. What a spread.
Quite a spread.
And what is it called? Santiago cake?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that almond cake tart thing.
For breakfast, yum.
Absolutely wonderful. And we were late getting down there. And so they had put a fresh one out, never cut. I was like, yay.
And the fresh squeezed orange juice.
Oh, that made me so happy. I always say that's my 2 luxuries in life. If I could have a spoiled life, it would be to have fresh squeezed orange juice every day and a brand new pair of socks every day. Don't judge. That's just the way I feel. Don't get those things, but I would love that. So to see that that's like not even a big deal here. There's fresh squeezed orange juice everywhere. Who knew? I was so happy.
If there's anything else.
I know, I was so happy. So yeah, we sat there eating breakfast and taking our supplements, and I just remember looking at you across the table, feeling like I was practically seeing two of you. I just was really upside down. And that was kind of hard. But yeah, we got our transfer to Saria. Yeah. And that was super fun once we got there.
It was. It was a beautiful ride.
Mm-hmm. What'd you think of the town?
It was, trying to think back.
We were there yesterday. We walked down to the little church.
Yes, we walked out. Yes. I just love the... I told you I store things and they have problems coming out of my brain.
All good.
I just like the little streets going through the town that you don't think cars can go down, but they do.
And you better move because they're not gonna.
Nope.
And they go fast. Yeah, we went through kind of more of the town center. I don't want to say the touristy part, but where the shops and stuff are. And then we quickly found ourselves off the beaten path, which was really fun. I'm glad that you're up for that challenge because we were definitely off the beaten path. We were pretty lost at that point, but we kind of knew the direction that we needed to eventually head back to.
And we miraculously
We ended up right at our hotel. And I was like, yeah, I knew that. I was so surprised to turn the corner and go, I was like, I think we're staying here. How did we make a giant circle? But in that time, we saw those really friendly chickens.
Yes.
They thought we were going to feed them because they came running right up to us. And I was like, oh, sorry. Just to disappoint. But remember the old little rickety gate that led to another rickety gate up this very overgrown stair walk?
Yes, we were very curious, so we had to check it out.
And you were like, well, I've gone this far. You go, because it's two separate. And it's really spookily overgrown, and the rocks were loose, and we're like, okay, we can't get hurt before we start the Camino. So we're very careful. So we make it to the top. You remember what was there?
Yeah, like an old playground with this kind of creepy looking play horse.
It was so freaky. It was like a B-rated horror movie scene. There was vines growing on this one chair that maybe the adult would have sat in while the kids played, and then all the play stuff was dilapidated and fallen down.
All it needed was that old doll that was in the window.
Oh my gosh, that doll was creepy. Her eyes follow you. You walk by. It's there's lots of antique stores, and this one doll just we both were at the same time. If that doll had been at that playground, I probably would have screamed. Yeah, that I said, oh, this would be such a good place for a horror movie. This was really, really creepy because we had it. You could tell it was something at some point because there were steps in the gate. But at the top, it was so overgrown. We were just so curious, so we weren't sure if we were supposed to be up there.
It didn't say no trespassing or
no.
It didn't say nothing.
No, yeah. And then we met a woman on the street that started talking to us very demonstratively.
Laura.
No, the woman, the lady that she just kept pointing and talking to us, and I just kept saying, no habla español, only English, and she was very passionate about what she was saying.
She was, yes.
Didn't you think she was trying to get us to walk where she was walking or something?
I don't know if she wanted us to follow her to then I was curious if she needed money, but you would think she would say dinero. So I don't know.
But she kind of wouldn't let it go.
No.
I just kept saying, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Pico Inglés or Pico Español. We couldn't get past it. But we just never figured out what she was trying to say.
No.
But she was very passionate about it.
She was.
Yeah, nice. But I just felt bad that we couldn't. And so then we found this cute little point of interest to take a picture with, and you and I are going to be taking pictures of each other with things, but I was like, oh, here comes a nice looking young woman that might take our pictures. So I asked her, and she did. So we started talking. So we made our first friend.
Yes.
Remember
Laura.
her name? Laura. Yes, you did it. Laura from Germany. So hi, Laura, if you ever hear this. Yeah, she's traveling alone. Her friend was going to come, but then couldn't at the last minute. So, so she's by herself. And it was fun to just kind of stand there and talk to her.
Yeah. We saw her several different times. Saw her at dinner.
Yeah, she came over to the table.
Saw her at Mass.
Oh, yeah. So after the church thing, we went, the picture we were taking, explored more. Then we went to dinner, which was wonderful. It was cool. They put tuna fish on the salads they bring you, like the appetizer salad.
I don't know if it was cool, but it was different.
It was. Any other day I would love to eat tuna fish, but seafood is not always good to me, so I'm not going to do a lot of that. I know we're in Spain. I know it's what you're supposed to do, but we also have a lot of miles to walk, so I'm going to be conservative on the fish thing. But the bread, oh my gosh.
Dipped in olive oil, but like you said, the olive oil, I think, was meant for the salad dressing.
Back home, we're like olive oil and balsamic vinegar for bread.
Well, if we were in Italy, that would be a thing.
Yes, you're right. And we thought, they're just using white balsamic. And it was really oil and vinegar for the salad. We didn't know. So they're probably like, why are they dredging their bread and all in the salad dressing? But it was good. But we were hustling through dinner because we wanted to make it to a 7 o'clock Mass.
Yes.
We're not Catholic, but same God, same Jesus, and just wanted to kind of do what the locals do, be part of the neighborhood. It was beautiful.
It was. Didn't understand a word they said, but...
No, but it was beautiful. I understood Deus and Cristo, and it was just really, really neat to come together and do something with a lot of probably fellow pilgrims for the Camino, and then maybe some locals. And they offered communion, and we got to take communion, and it was just very special.
It was.
We didn't really know the routine of these things because it was like our first thing after settling in there. And
I don't think I've ever been to a Mass before.
Okay.
Well, like when we visited New York one time, how Bart and Bruce grew up as Episcopalian.
Yes.
I'd done that.
Yeah. That reminds me. Did I ever tell you the most embarrassing story ever? I mean, this one still makes me want to hide. So I grew up Baptist. I've been a lot of Baptist, Methodist, and Presbyterian. I've been all of them. And I went to Bruce's Episcopalian church, and I had that weird OCD germ thing. So I'm like, I'm not going to be at the end of the line drinking out of that cup. I can't. I mean, I know it's communion and sacred and holy, but I'm not drinking after anybody.
They didn't do it the last night.
No, they didn't do any of the wine. Just the bread. So at that church service, I told Bruce, I said, when it's time to go up, I have to be first. I'm going to run. I will look like an enthusiastic communion taker because I cannot drink after anybody. And so I was first. So I beelined.
How many people did you knock over to get there?
Oh, a few. So I'm first in line, and the priest is there, and he gives me the bread, and then he has the cup held out, and so I lean in and I sip it, and I think we're all good. And I'm sitting there, and I look over, and as everyone else down the line's doing it, they're dipping their bread in it. So I was afraid of drinking after somebody, and I in turn made everybody drink after me. I was so mortified. I was like, can we leave? Please. I can't face any of these people. I just think that the thing that I was running and hiding from, the problem I created for everybody else. Really one of the most things I'm not proud of. I was like, I don't know how you do things in an Episcopal church. You should have told me. He's like, well, we've done it both ways. I'm like, well, you could have at least said, anyway. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I drank out of the chalice that you're only supposed to dip in, and then
some people do both.
Right. So like, how are you supposed to know? No one, only people dipped there. Hola. So that's fun. So last night I made sure I was not first in line for Mass because I didn't know what I was getting into for the communion. And so I was watching. I was on my tiptoes looking over everybody's shoulders like, what are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? So that was cool though.
That was.
And then the Mass ended, and all the people like rushed up to this room off to the side. And we're standing in line. Do you remember what you asked me?
Well, you were like, I wonder what the line's for. And I said, I don't know. I've been looking inside. I said, maybe it's confession.
And then I said, okay, you first. Because I could have a lot of confessions all the time. And, I mean, since we're not Catholic, we don't know what that protocol is. And so you're like, well, people are going in the room, but then they're coming back out. I'm like, well, with confession, okay, that could be a thing. I thought we were going through, like, the door to go to, like, a garden in the back and see more of the property or something. But then you said people were coming back out. I'm like, what? Well, we're here. Let's just see what it is.
Yeah. So it's to get our little passport. So that when you do the Camino, they give you a passport, and you got to get it stamped, like, 2 times each day on your walk. And
that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
The guy at the hotel desk said any shop, church, restaurant, hotel, everyone can stamp. And I was so caught up in the beautifulness of the Mass that I wasn't even thinking about that. But all the pilgrims just made a mad dash for that room, and so we just got in line, like,
they must have understood what he was saying.
Oh.
Because one word I did understand was Camino.
Okay. And it was kind of funny that so there was the priest that did the Mass, but then there was, like, the other priest that sat with him that was kind of the helper for the Mass, and this older gentleman. And I kind of had to do a double take, because one minute the older gentleman is in, the priestly white robe and everything. It looks very official. And I remember him saying to the group that had already gathered, which we didn't know why at that point, was like, un momento, por favor. And he vanishes. And I'm just kind of sitting here watching, like, I don't know. We're not in a hurry. I'm like, I don't know. And he comes out in, like, chinos and a sweatshirt. I'm just like, wait a minute. You were just in a robe and servicing Mass, and now you look like one of us now. And so he was the one that did the passports. And that's cool, asking everybody where they're from.
Yes.
That was kind of fun.
I guess America wasn't that interesting, because the other people, he, like, asked him more questions.
I know. He's like, oh, American. Whatever. Well, I think it's because he asked where I was from, and I said, because I was first, I said, America. I don't think he heard me, because he said, where are you from? And so I said, North Carolina, America. And he looks at me, and he's like, it's like he's getting frustrated. He's like, where are you from? And I'm thinking, I've just told you twice. So I said slowly, I was like, America. And he rolled his eyes. He's like, and he stamps. And I'm just like, I answered you the first time. But you don't show any of that. You're just like, thank you for, gracias, and leave it at that. Because I answered him. He just didn't hear me. And that was totally fine. That was just funny. Oh, I got your foot again. I'm so sorry. You're in flip-flops and I'm in these clunky running shoes. I'm going to keep my foot back here, I promise.
I'm good.
Okay. So, we get through Mass. We didn't make too many mistakes with that one. That's good.
I just followed everyone else.
There you go. And it was really pretty. The chapel or church was really, really pretty. So, we got a much better sleep last night.
More so than I thought.
Yes. I know I got a lot better sleep. That night before, that sensor went off 10 times. So I was not getting... And then the whole jet lag thing. You take those...
No jet lag.
Yes. Tell me about those, because I haven't had them.
I've taken them several trips now, and I think they work. You take one at takeoff, then you take one every 2 hours, then you take one at landing.
What's the magic in them?
I don't know, but
they're all natural.
I don't know if it's a head thing.
Like a psychosomatic placebo.
But they really help me.
I bought them. I had them with me on the plane, but I'm so sensitive to so many things. I thought, do I really want to cause a scene on a plane when we have to fly over an ocean and they have to stick some EpiPen in my leg for something? I thought, I just don't know. But after living through that night's sleep, which there was no sleep, I was regretful. I probably should have tried them. Yeah, you swear by them. I mean,
I do.
Yeah. So this morning we woke up much more rested, had our breakfast. Oh, remember the
breakfast today?
The Nutella.
Oh, it was almost like a flaky croissant type thing with the Nutella in it.
They had one left, so we split it.
Thank you for splitting that with me.
Oh, for sure. Thank you. It was so fast paced because they're trying to service the pilgrims so everyone can get out. And
yes, everyone that does the walk is called a pilgrim.
Yes, so we're all pilgrims on our journeys. And so we were just making fast breakfast decisions. And yeah, that was delicious. Mm-hmm. More fresh squeezed orange juice.
Yes. Coffee is wonderful here.
Is it? I don't drink, so yeah. Tell us about that. Is it strong?
It's strong, and it's, yeah. You don't really need, usually I use flavored cream. You don't need it.
Really?
Just a little bit of sugar, and I'm good.
They even did like the little heart foam frothy thing on the top. That was pretty. That was really pretty for you. So that was good. So yeah, so then after that, we just kind of looked at each other like, well, I guess we start walking. Because a lot of times, there's a tour guide or there's some event that you're going to with a timed entry or something, and this was just like,
you start when you want to start, and I guess, when you get to your place for the night, yeah.
Yeah. So we got our picture by the Saria town. It's not a sign. What is it? Those 3-dimensional letters that are everywhere now that are so cool. A nice gentleman took that picture for us, and we headed out, and we've had a good day of walking.
We did almost. Well, if you add our extra little walk, then we got almost 8 miles.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
in 4 hours. That's not bad.
No, because we stopped.
Yeah.
Took a few pictures.
Yeah, almost 200. That's what Google albums are for. Oh, and our family's back home. Your husband set that up.
Yes, he set up the albums because he knows I don't take pictures, and why do I need to? I'm here with Kristi.
Because I do take a lot of pictures.
And hers are much better than mine.
No, I just take a lot more. I have done photography since I was 10, honestly. And, yeah, it's just fun. It's a voice to the world to let people see. Because 5 people can be standing beside each other looking at the same thing, but everyone sees it differently. And so I think a picture shows the way you see something or what it's speaking to you.
My dad's enjoying seeing the pictures.
Your dad's cracking me up. He's like following real time. He's like tracking.
He is. I think he wants to make sure we're all okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And what did he say about the pictures?
Oh, what did he say?
About like we were like all we do is eat or something.
Oh yeah. Is that all I see is pictures of food?
Well, in the travel part, when trains, planes, and automobiles, there wasn't a lot to take pictures else of, and so except the souvenirs in the German airport, which I thought were really cute. So I took pictures of those. We have a Jeep, so we saw that little German rubber ducky that I really almost bought. But it was like $10 for a rubber ducky. And I thought, I don't know about that. But I really wanted to do that because of the Jeep Wrangler thing. But that's okay. So we embarked, and we've had a good day. We've met another friend from West Sussex. Her name is Debbie.
Yes.
And a very delightful woman. We had a nice long conversation about the royal family. Because I am like, I have a friend that lives in England, and that's pretty. I have 2 friends, but one's American. He's an expat over there, and then one is from there. And so it was really fascinating to get her thoughts on the royal family. And she talked from Queen Elizabeth all the way to Harry. It is so cool. So cool.
And her accent.
Her accent's so classy. It just makes them sound like 5 levels smarter, And just to hear, we talked about Charles and Diana and William and Kate and Harry and Meghan, and how Queen Elizabeth was Princess Elizabeth and drove the ambulances in the war, and I just loved hearing her thoughts on everything. That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. 2 new friends now so far, Laura and Debbie, from 2 different parts, of Europe, which is super cool. So the weather's been beautiful. Literally not a cloud in the sky. Very breezy. So even though there's full sun, it doesn't feel that way.
Mm-mm.
The breeze is quite nice. And the little dog.
Oh, that was the cutest. Not as cute as Dixie, but
Who's Dixie?
that's our dog.
The queen of your castle.
Yes.
She's a
Norwich Terrier.
Mm-hmm. She runs the house.
This dog, obviously a mutt of some kind, but the cutest.
Really cute. With a little black button nose. And you pointed out the thing on the collar.
Oh yeah, little Camino. I still gotta find one.
It's a little Camino dog tag.
Yes.
That was so cute. And then we passed them, like, caught up to them a couple of different times today.
Mm-hmm.
And that little dog was just walking on air, just so happy to be out there with his mom and dad. So cute.
I wonder where they stay that allows dogs.
I don't know. That's a good point. Yeah. So we saw lots of cows,
Yes.
a couple of guard dogs.
And then them herding the cows.
Oh, the herding of the cows. We happened to walk by the cattle gate as they were literally letting them out onto the Camino walk, wherever they go A to B. And the cows were incredibly animated. We'll say that way. We'll say that these cows wanted baby cows to come forth soon. So it was us with a group of like probably young 20-something guys, and they were laughing. They're like, get it on video to themselves. And I'm sitting there going, I got it on video. They were frisky. That was really funny. And yeah, you can tell the cows know that walk. They were like, out of my way. We got a place to be.
Yep.
So why are you wanting to do this?
Well, first of all, you brought it up, and then I was like, okay, let's go. And then, more, it's just, I love the adventure. Just, see what God's leading me, let him speak to me, and just less distractions when you're out like this, and spending time with you.
The bug alert. You have a very fast reaction to bugs touching you. I love that you want to spend. I don't know many people that would commit to doing 19 days with me, joined at the hip. I just really don't. Other than my husband, I even think maybe my kids might think that's a lot.
Ditto.
I think we match up really well. I think we have we're a lot alike in some ways, and I think other ways we're different, and our strengths come together, and we kind of make two pieces of a puzzle kind of fit together. And you kept saying the first day, you're like, I'm so sorry you're asleep, because I wasn't going to let that ruin my day. I was just like, I'll just take some Motrin and move on, and the breakfast really helped, that yummy breakfast. But you were like, I'm sorry you didn't sleep well. I said, listen, I'm glad you slept good, because we both can't be down at the same time.
Yep.
So it's all working out great. So you mentioned wanting to listen to God. So it's shocking to me how many people haven't heard of the Camino. Like, there's a lot. Pretty much everyone I talk to that I don't know has not heard of it.
Yeah, there's only a few that
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. I went to my acupuncture the day before, 2 days before we left, and I want to get one more in. And I told him that I'd be gone, for a little bit. And when I mentioned it, he had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, really? Okay. So basically, St. James wanted to help spread the gospel. So James, one of the disciples, wanted to spread the gospel. And so he came here to do that, and to an unreached part way back in his time, AD, after Jesus was crucified and resurrected. So he came here to a new part of the world. And his pilgrim walk led him here, and this is, to my knowledge, is where he died. And so there's at the end of the Camino, because there's 5 different routes, major routes, but then there's sub routes, like you and I are doing the last part of the French way. Mm-hmm. So there's 8, I think, total different ways you could do it, and some are 600 miles long. That's great, if you've got the time and energy. That was a B. So what inspired people was, they wanted to kind of walk in the steps of the early disciples, and it's mostly a religious walk. I think that was the preset in the beginning, but I know it's a lot of things to a lot of people now.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think people will come for a spiritual aspect, or they're coming to unplug from
Yeah.
our electrified world. They're coming because, maybe midlife crisis or a gap year, a transition, that type of thing. So it's interesting to find out why people want to do it.
We've seen several by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Then you see some that are like groups.
Mm-hmm. You see everything, every age.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, someone asked me, "Why are you doing it? Like, what's your reason for doing it?" And I was like, I have a question to work out with God, and I'm hoping that He will answer me, and not like full on forever and ever, amen. Just give me something to go on. And so I'm kind of wrestling that out a little bit. And it was really cool this morning. So you downloaded books, and I downloaded some podcasts, and so that was cool that we could like walk together, but we're listening to our own stuff. And so I was listening, I've mentioned before, Daily Audio Bible, and I was 2 days behind because of all the travel stuff. I was really okay letting it get behind because I would build up more to listen to on the walk. So I was listening to a couple days ago, and I had just looked down at my shoes, and they're just which is why you changed, I'm sure, to your other ones, because they're just nasty. They're dirty and dusty just from one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking, listening to Dab, and I'm like, wow, my shoes are so dirty. And they do Old Testament, New Testament, Psalm, and Proverb every day to get you through in a year. I get no sponsorship from anything. I just really love this app. It's really great. You should do it. And Brian is a great host for it. So I looked down, my shoes are dirty, and next thing you know, he flips to the New Testament, and it's the story of Jesus's last night. It's the Last Supper, and how he takes off his outer robe and he washes the feet. And they're like, why are you doing this? We're supposed to be serving you. And he's like, I need to teach you how to be a servant. So I'm going to serve you. And I love the commentary that Brian gave to it at the end. He said, people are coming in, when they get to the house they're coming to back in biblical days, they're grimy, they're dirty, and you have to wash your hands and feet. And he said, think of the grime and the dirt. And I really did stop and think about all those 12 disciples. Like, they were probably coming from different points of the town, and what had they done with their day, and what kind of grime and dirt was on their feet. And for Jesus, it didn't matter. He was going to wash all their feet, no matter where those feet had been or what those feet had gotten into, hands included.
Oh.
So he's at that point, I'm thinking to myself, grime and dirt, dirty feet. I'm like, so I stopped right there. I was like, hold on a second, Michelle, I need to take a picture. And I'm taking a picture of my shoes, and you're looking at me, you're like, what? I was like, it's a long story, I'll tell you later. So I took a picture of my feet at that exact moment that I had been thinking, wow, my shoes are filthy, and the cuffs of my pants are filthy. And then he's talking about washing feet. And so, his point was, it's not just feet that get dirty, hearts get dirty, minds get dirty. We're asking Jesus to wash and cleanse us. And it was just incredibly apropos to have that happen. I don't think it was a coincidence. I think it was a God wink, and very excited. That was a cool moment for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yep. What thoughts have you gleaned from today? Adios. What thoughts? Deep thoughts with Michelle.
Deep thoughts. I totally enjoyed just the whole walk. I mean, just walking the countryside. These aren't like main roads that you're on, and I just love exploring all the beauty and soaking it all in.
Mm-hmm. The flowers here. They're beautiful. Mm-hmm. The roses are huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love the one picture you got of the older couple just both out in the garden working together.
Oh, that was so sweet. Yeah, they were on opposite sides of the garden, but both bent over working it.
Mm-hmm.
She's in her little dress, and he's in his pants with suspenders, and what teamwork it showed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was happy to snap that really quick. Thank you, people, for letting me do that. And remember the couple in town in Saria?
Yes. The wife was inside, the husband was outside sitting, and they're just having a conversation.
They're sitting like 5 feet apart, on the same side, like not facing each other.
Yeah.
And they're just talking.
One's inside, one's outside.
That was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wanted to get that picture, but I wasn't feeling that might be okay, so I didn't. But it was neat to experience it. I don't think I told you this. I got a picture of a young couple walking by that. Remember, we passed by it again to go to Mass, and then down to the pharmacy. We passed by that same road where that couple was.
Mm-hmm.
I happened to look over, and there was a young couple that were like arm in arm walking.
Aww.
And I was like, oh! And their backs were to us, so it was fine. No, they not recognizable. And I was like, let's get that picture. And I did. I got it.
Well, did you get the one on the trail today where the couple was holding it?
I did. There was an older couple, Camino pilgrims, and they were holding hands. I got that picture too from the back. Yeah. That's fun. It's so fun. Yeah, it's been a great day, and we're going to have dinner and get a good night's rest, and we have a shorter walk tomorrow, and then we'll have some days that are a little longer.
Got to do laundry tomorrow.
Yeah, I got to find where to do laundry.
Clean clothes.
Yes, but it's been so fun so far, and even with the unexpecteds, like the checked bag or my glucose screaming at me all night long, nothing has taken away from the experience. We roll with the punches, and very grateful that we're able to just do this at all and do it together.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is just the start. So we'll do another one of these in a few days and see how it's going. see if you're sick of me yet.
Same.
Oh, I don't think so. So for now, we're going to go find out where they're doing dinner and what they're serving and all that good stuff. So, well, buen camino.
Buen camino.
And buenas noches.
Adios.
Adios, chica. Okay, we'll see you next time on Real Deep Stuff.